What's good? Spring is here, skin is showing, and hormones are flowing. Uh, if this video were to go viral, I know I would get beat up. I'd be just eviscerated for what I'm about to say, but I'm going to say it, and I'm going to be honest. Uh, I am tired of being bombarded by bosoms and butts and so much skin. Uh, I'm just tired of how overly sexual women from the age of 13 to 60 are presenting themselves. Uh, I support freedom. I support your right to do so. I'm not here saying this should be illegal or anything like that. I am just sharing my own personal lived experiences around a very sensitive subject. It's frustrating. It is just so frustrating to constantly be having to manage extraordinarily primal urges. And I also need to say, at no point is any form of aggression, sexual assault, etc., okay, justified. I am not at all trying to do any victim blaming or anything like that. I'm just trying to present my own personal experience. That is wrong. Grape is wrong, unequivocally. So I just need to get that out of the way. But I do also want to just convey to the world how frustrating it is for men, both single men and married men, but men who just want to try to do better, to be good members of society. It actually encourages me to avoid women. I have this story that I'm going to share with you now. At my retail job, Home Depot, doesn't matter, I'm a small channel, right? I don't mind saying it. If I had a large channel, I might be private, but it doesn't matter. And when the sun is out, especially here in Seattle, where women are a little bit more loose, we'll say. That's like a word my grandma would use, loose. Oh boy. Anyways, uh, it's just nonstop ass and titties. Uh, and after a while, I just find myself just like blurring out my vision and just avoiding women and just putting my head down, etc. But I can't always do that because I still have to work, right, and interact. And there was one particular interaction where I failed to conceal sort of my reaction to something, and I'll frame it. I'm walking down one of the main aisles, and I turn right into a side aisle to grab something. I was pulling an online order, and I turn and I look up into the aisle, and I see a woman in extraordinarily short, like really short, like you could almost see cheek, but not quite. Short, really skin tight, bright orange booty shorts. Uh, she might as well just been like playing volleyball on the beach or something. I don't know. And then of course like a white, really tight, small tank top thing. And I sensed that she caught me because I had failed to, sort of disguise, not my disgust, because disgust isn't the right word, but I just kind of had this moment of like, ugh, like, God damn it, I have to interact with another fucking woman dressed in almost nothing, and I don't want to, but I have to. And I think she, like, I just, that sort of, you know, depleted demeanor I had, I think she sensed that and picked up on it. But she still asked for my help. And then I think, she was further frustrated when I had pointed her to something where this particular thing she was looking for was kind of a self-service thing. Like, I'm not going to do it for you. I might have done it for you if I wasn't wanting to just get away from you as fast as I possibly could. So I had that, and she's not the only one. There's just always women in just super tight clothing. And I very much like women. If this video were to go viral, I would probably be called the misogynist, or I have like internalized misogyny, etc. Blah blah blah. No, I love humans, right? The past few of my video, I've talked about like this mana energy that I have. It's not it's with men and with women, and I just love interacting with people and having authentic, good quality interactions with people. And part of growing and developing is learning to transmute that sexual frustration into something positive. So ultimately, it is a good thing that I am being given this lesson, but I think there are multiple sides that should be discussed for everybody to sort of think about. For young men, it's for us to think about that. Yes, it is frustrating, but it is an opportunity to harness the energy for good, especially for like married men. I've talked about this in other videos where that frustration is like you bottle that up and then you sort of take it home to your wife and then you unleash sexual frustration on your wife. But if you do so in a way where the two of you have a reciprocal relationship where you take care of her and she takes care of you, that's the ideal scenario for sexual frustration. But when you're a single guy living in a city, Seattle, where you don't agree with the people, like, I'm screwed. I'm cooked. But anyways, let me wrap up the video here. I'm not saying that primal desire. So I'm not saying primal desire is bad or wrong or no, not at all. It is very natural. Uh, but I am saying that there is an element of tension there in the transmutation process. And if we want to build a society where people, care about one another, I would like to just sort of put this out there that sexual frustration is a really, really just like mind fuck of a thing for men. It really fucks with us. And it would just be nice if society was a little bit more like, I don't want to say understanding or considerate in a way where I don't think we should tailor our ways of living around that idea, but it's something that should be one variable in a huge complex equation of how we coexist, right? Um, and so ultimately, that is why I believe I haven't even talked about sundresses yet, but it's in the title of the video. I believe sundresses are superior because they do still depict the female form very well. They're soft and flowing. You can also still see the shapes though, but also slightly concealing. You see far less skin, and the shapes are often slightly less pronounced or prominent because you don't have just the tightness, right? The flowingness allows for a little bit of that. And then also they often have patterns, cool patterns. So you're not just getting a bit of that primal arousal, but there's also sort of a visual, intellectual arousal around the patterns. It evokes what I would call a deeper eros, a deeper arousal. It's not just primal, but it touches something closer to the soul when you're getting the mind and the body involved in an experience versus, when I see just ass and titties, my mind really isn't involved so much as like it's a deep, visceral, physical feeling. And it can be unpleasant at times. Um, there was one more point I wanted to make. Yes. And this is all connected to an earlier video I had made talking about the division of the sexes and how we're really divided, and how I believe that's intentional. Uh, One common thing I hear women complain about is men don't commit anymore. And speaking as a former player, I can tell you if you were an easy woman, a man's just not going to commit to you. So the old sort of ancient tradition of not putting out early it's pretty freaking effective, I can tell you. If you want a real commitment and a real man to pursue you and honor you and cherish you, you got to make him wait. And you need to obtain the commitment, the physical, the mental and intellectual and spiritual commitment before the physical commitment. Uh, it's so funny. Like that's been knowledge for hundreds of years, and yet, because the ruling class, the social engineers, they want men and women to be at odds, and they don't want harmony in the divine union of the masculine and feminine. They want this chaos. And if you want to be a part of countering said chaos, you have to ask yourself, how have you been contributing and how do you need to do better? Me, I used to be a former player, like I had said. So I'm trying to be better in not just having sex with some easy woman who doesn't love herself ultimately. Now we're getting way off the subject. Most people aren't going to watch this video, but I just wanted to get it off my chest, so it was nice. Please like, comment, share, subscribe, do all the things. Much love.